The federal government passed some credits for renewable energy. I think it was $10,000 or up to 50% of a project. The residents of Wyoming snapped them all up within 10 days.
We're not stupid. It's one of the things that I think we're doing wrong is we're not concentrating enough on both the financial and practical benefits of energy efficiency. To the extent people can see that and that it works in their daily budget or in their monthly bill, energy conservation is one of those things that people do understand price signals, so that's why I think we need to be very careful about understanding that energy efficiency is kind of it's not just the low-hanging fruit, but it's the permanent fruit. When you make those gains, you make them.
What I was going to ask is how you think that this energy and environment issues will play out in 2010.
Well, the public is going to be more and more skeptical about our ability to have policy in this area. You're in an economy in which people are going to tend to view environmental gains as luxuries, not as necessities. They're going to view their job, their kids, those things as...
Public polls show that. Yeah.
Right. I mean, because it's sort of Maslow's hierarchy of values. I mean, that's where we're at. And I think you're going to see that sort out because we have not made a compelling case that there is a doable sort of glide path to make the energy and environment issues work together.
So do you think legislation will get through this year?
No.
Do you think it gets through in President Obama's current term?
You know, I'm one of those people who thinks what they ought to do is back up, pick out 2 or 3 things, and go do them.
So pick out a renewable electricity standard or
a clean energy standard.
Clean energy standard.
With a reasonable glide path.
Do it a la carte rather than all one big bundle.
If you look at the Waxman-Markey bill, it has sort of 5 pages from everybody. And so at the end of it, you have all of those pages, and I've read the whole thing, and I've tried to figure it out. And the whole thing is, I think they meant well, but by the time they took in 5 pages from every member of Congress, you ended up with a bill that makes no sense and is actually internally inconsistent in terms of the policies that it tries to promote. If we're serious about both energy security and managing climate gases, I would set a standard initially as probably something close to the sort of natural gas standard and say anybody who can hit that or below.
It's emission number.
Emissions, right, the emission number, which means coal's going to have to control 65, 67% of its CO2 emissions if you're going to build new plants, which I think they can do, and if they can't, they can't. I would say that I would insert in that bill a fairly serious effort to actually think about how we're going to restructure the electric grid, because none of this works, and in fact this economy is not going to continue to grow if we don't figure out what we're going to do with the electric grid. And I would create as much incentive for the guy who can figure out how to reduce line loss by having a more efficient means of transmitting electricity. We ought to reward him every bit as much as we're going to reward the person who figures out how to use coal or natural gas or some turbine, because at the end of the day, you get to the same result